Fuel economy isn't just about the fuel tank.
My group is thinking about renewable materials to replace petroleum-based ones in cars. The first time we tried to incorporate soy foam, it basically collapsed. But after many, many formulation changes, we now meet all the specifications for a good automotive foam.
Green isn't just about fuel efficiency, it's also about sustainability.
I think it's very important to preserve the environment, and I think we need to do it now.
I'm Debbie Molesky, and this is the Ford Escape. Drive one.
We are talking Drive Green, and obviously biomaterials are a part of that. Here is Paul Roy. He is the Director of Marketing Plans for Ford of Canada. What are your plans for biomaterials? I mean, if you can take petroleum out of the foam and put in soya, I mean, you're making farmers very happy, I'll tell you that.
We certainly are. Well, actually, we've been at that for a little while. We started with one vehicle, obviously, with soy material in the seats. Now we have 8. So we're going to expand it to more vehicles as we go through the process. We're looking at alternate materials as well. We're looking at natural fibers to go into our plastics and whatnot.
It's not a bad idea. I mean, I like it for the farmers, but I mean, you're saving a ton of water, a ton of electricity.
Yes, and that is why the CAA gave it an award, gave the seats within this award for the most environmentally sensitive and intelligent technology of 2009. And I sat on that jury, and we looked at all the other things like hybrid technology, but this one gave an immediate impact because it saved like 600,000 gallons of water a year in the manufacturing
of this particular line of cars.
Yes, of this particular line of cars. So, because the Escape is a high-volume, compact SUV, so introducing things like this, little things make a big difference if you do them in the right products.
You know, when you introduce something like this, I mean, you've got to get it into the engineering spec. It's got to pass, you know, crash tests and all the performance things that they did with the petroleum-based stuff. It's not easy to substitute.
Well, not just that, but you also have to pass the comfort test, because the most important component in any car is the seats.
Yeah, I see.
That's where you sit, and you sit for a long time. And if you're commuting, I'm sure Paul will agree with this, is that you really need to have what Debbie talked about in that video is seats that have the right compression number on it, and they test these things. And initially, the soy seats that I've seen were too mushy, too soft, and they didn't hold their shape.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when I think Drive Green, I'm thinking mostly fuel economy,
right.
And EcoBoost is the push that Ford is on with this. This is just the old internal combustion, gasoline-powered engine, like turned up. I mean, the EcoBoost means there's what? Turbo.
Our strategy really is
and direct injection.
You got it.
Which you can buy in very expensive German engines.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to focus on execution in a grand scale. Like when we look at our strategy when it comes to driving green, it's really multi-layered. And we want to bring, obviously, smaller cars to market. We want to bring technology into cars right away, and EcoBoost is a perfect example. And the combination of direct injection and turbos really gives you superior performance and horsepower. So, if your driving needs require the horsepower of a V8, you don't need it. You can go to a V6.
Out of 6,
You got it. You can get.
No, I buy all that. I mean, it makes sense to me. I don't know. Can you afford to do it? Because this is expensive technology.
Well, what's going to happen is as we get into first of all, as we move forward, we're going to be bringing this out to a lot of our vehicle lines. We're going to have 4 vehicle lines this summer that are going to have that technology in it. You're going to have the built-in Oakville Flex and the Lincoln MKT. You have the Taurus and the Lincoln MKS that'll have it now.
What are these, six-cylinder engines?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And
I want it in a 4.
That will eventually come, but we're going to be actually bringing more and more of this out. 80% of our product line is going to have EcoBoost technology available by 2012.
You see much of this coming, Cato? I mean, we've seen it in Germany for a while, but in a mass-produced car.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. Think about the culture at Ford Motor Company. Henry Ford's genius wasn't the Model T. It was making the Model T.
Yeah.
Mass production.
Yeah.
And I think if you talk to the analysts that are examining Ford, they will say that some of the changes reflect the culture of the company. Mass production. The only way EcoBoost makes sense is if you sell 500,000 of them a year.
I get it.
All right, so then you can afford to put it in a Focus, a Fiesta, a Fusion, an MKT, all of these vehicles, the Ford Edge and so on, if you're selling 500,000 a year, and that is the goal.
Okay, EcoBoost gasoline engine I like, but why wouldn't they just go diesel?
Well, diesel, first of all, diesel fuel in the United States is often more expensive. Two, the diesel customer in the United States is a trucker. He's not he or she is not everyday drivers. We are much more amenable to diesels here. So diesel doesn't work in the United States, and in fact, diesel will probably be less than 5% of the market in the next 3 to 5 years.
Well, and also when you look at the technology, you can go anywhere and fill it up. You get 20% fuel economy savings right away, and you take your CO2 emissions down 15% with a vehicle that's equipped with an EcoBoost.
That is not bad. Okay, now EcoBoost is coming. Hybrids. Toyota got the jump on you on hybrids, but you're coming on hard now. We saw this, the Fusion hybrid. What are your hopes for that? What do you think you've done in this generation of hybrids at Ford to try to catch up?
Well, we actually did kind of skip a generation, and we with the Fusion, the hybrid version of it is just phenomenal. First of all, it is the most fuel-efficient midsize sedan in its class. Period. And the stats or the numbers on the engine are phenomenal. We've actually tested the engine, and we did a 1,000-mile challenge in Virginia to Washington, where we filled the tank up. We wanted to see how far we could drive. We were going to go 1,000 miles. We did 1,445 miles, 2,225 kilometers. It's quite a distance on one tank of fuel. So the technology works for us.
You know, there got to be some standardized tests about, you know, the fuel economy. But that, anyway, it's terrific. But what about this, the hybrid system itself? Because we drove that car, and I'll tell you, it really is seamless.
Well, it had to be. I mean, this was a chance to try and catch up with Toyota, which owned the hybrid space in the marketplace. There's a new 2010 Toyota Prius. Obviously, if Ford's going to launch a 2010 Fusion, it has to do something that at least matches whatever Toyota's. And that something is...
Going 75 kilometers an hour, battery only. I like that.
Exactly. The Prius, by comparison, will also drive in an electric mode, but it'll only go up to about 40 kilometers in all electric mode. So this was the idea of Derek Kuzak, the chief engineer at Ford, overall the big VP. We got to beat Toyota. We have to be better at everything, or otherwise we're not going to get noticed.
Agreed. What do you think? But if you put a Prius or a hybrid, see, we think they're Priuses. If you put a hybrid against an EcoBoost, what's the better deal?
Well, actually, it really depends on how you drive the vehicle, too.
Right.
And EcoBoost is sort of a play of economy and performance. And I think it was mentioned earlier that people aren't willing to give up performance. EcoBoost allows you to have that, have your cake and eat it, too.
Yeah. Well, what I'm excited about is it going into the four-cylinder cars. Because
me too.
The big complaint about people, I know that Paul wants to push the six-cylinder cars, but what people hate about small cars, if there's one thing, it's a lack of performance. I can't merge into traffic. I'm always being, you know, I can't get out of the way of those big 18-wheelers. Putting it into the four-cylinder cars makes a case for a car that's fuel efficient and fun to drive.
Are you doing the hybrid for technology or for reputation?
I think we're doing it really, we've got to cover all our bases, to be honest with you. You know, we've got near-term technology. EcoBoost is a great example of us getting in now.
Right.
Hybrid, now that's going to get better through time, and the equation is going to work out as we move through time. We get better efficiency with the batteries themselves. So I think it really is a number of things.
You know, with the choices that people have, they got to understand how they drive, what they need a car for, and choose the technology that suits them best.
Well, and that's why the newer hybrids. I think Ford has probably come up with this system in the dashboard that sprouts trees and leaves and that sort of thing. To tell you how economical you are with your driving.
Education.
Well, the Honda Insight has something like it, not as elaborate. But what struck me is that the Toyota Prius doesn't have that at all. It has bar graphs, which are great if you're engineers. But you know, if you're not an engineer, which most of us are not, you need something else.
Well, the smart gauge system that we have in the Fusion Hybrid,
we will cover it next time because we have just run out of time. Hey, that was fun. Drive green. We could talk about that all night. Drive smart too. Ford, drive one. See you next time.